If your company has bad debt, consider assigning your accounts to Merticon, MERTICON.com. Merticon, global leader in collections. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Please hit that subscribe button and that notification bell and be notified to all our future videos. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Chuck Graham Show. I first started to try to do this video and had a pop-up on my screen with some chick's ass. Anyway, if you want to visit us on charlesgraham.com, you can go to charlesgraham.com and visit us, and you can view our podcast on Spotify and iTunes and all those. These episodes will be up there. If they happen to get taken down by, I don't know, YouTube or Twitter, Facebook, then you can always find them there. So, I want to get into what my last show was, right, about Twitter. Well, they suspended my account because I violated their terms of service for hate speech by making a joke about Jeff Bezos being bald-headed. However, you know, I really, and I go back to this, and I'll tell this story again. I had a guy on Twitter take my picture that I've got on my profile, and you can see it. Looks like a Caesar cut. It's back years ago when I took that picture. Anyway, he took my picture, and he took the picture of Jim Carrey with Dumb and Dumber. And he put it right beside each other, and he put it on Twitter, and he says, "Y'all must go to the same barber." And I messaged him back, and I said, well, that's the funny shit I've seen all day. And it was funny. It was funny as hell. I wish I'd have kept a copy of it. I would post it up here. It was funny as hell. Because it did look like, I was better looking. But, you know, hey, it was a joke. Or maybe it wasn't a joke and it was meant to, like, I don't know, hate on me or something. But I don't care. I'm not a snowflake. I don't have thin skin. That's why I tell you guys, put whatever the hell you want to in the comments. Because if you think you're going to offend me, you're not. You know, I'm just not that way. Anyway, the fact of the matter is he took it down. He took the tweet down because it didn't have the effect that he thought it was going to have. But looks like Twitter denied my appeal. It looks like I won't be on Twitter because they want my phone number now, and they want to, like, I've got to get this code, and then I've got to do certain things to get back on Twitter. Well, I'm going to give Twitter the proverbial, if I can pronounce that right, proverbial fuck you. I'm not going back on Twitter. And with an enthusiastic thumbs up. You know, because think about it. I mean, look at what they do. The only way we can stop this, folks, is just not use their platform. Now, with all the suits and lawsuits, you know, you got Louder with Crowder, you got all these other platforms that are suing Twitter and YouTube, and right now they haven't been successful. They've been popped. They've been shot down about, well, and keep in mind, they're in these liberal districts, right? And let me break down how this works. Let's say you get a judgment in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. Well, that judgment or that ruling is only good in that Fifth Circuit's district. So, you know, what you may have over in the Fifth Circuit over here may not affect the jurisdiction of the Ninth Circuit. It's not going to affect it. It may be persuasive, but it won't be binding case law. It's only going to be binding when it gets to SCOTUS, and SCOTUS makes a decision that affects every state in the union. And the states are starting to take note and make their own laws. As lackluster as some of them seem to be, and the fines are very small, this needs to be done through the courts, and it needs to make its way to SCOTUS. But right now, SCOTUS has refused to hear it. So the case law in Marsh versus Alabama that they're trying to say doesn't apply for various reasons, which is nonsense, really. Justice Hugo Black said it perfectly, basically, and I'm paraphrasing. You can go back and read the case file if you'd like. I don't have it in front of me. It's 4 o'clock in the morning, people. What do you expect from a 4 o'clock in the morning show? Anyway, Justice Hugo Black basically says the more you use or allow your property, meaning that private town, to be used, for public use, the more you encompass yourself in the constitutional rights of the public that uses it. Basically, Twitter and Facebook and YouTube are a public square, and eventually it's going to get to SCOTUS, and they're poking the bear, and they're poking him pretty good. And that's why you don't shoot a bear with a Walther PPK with hollow points. You might as well be shooting it with a BB gun. And that's basically what you're ending up having happen here. Is that once it hits SCOTUS and they make the right argument, and SCOTUS, they have denied hearing it. I think the last one was Purdue versus Google, and they wouldn't hear it. And that's not uncommon, folks. So the lower ruling stands at this time, but just keep in mind it's only effective in that particular district, and it's not a United States countrywide binding ruling until it hits SCOTUS. So my point being is this: just stay tuned. This is going to get interesting. But now, am I going to pro se it and file the $400 for the Southern District of Mississippi and sue Twitter? I doubt it. I may try to find a law firm that'll take it on contingency and see if they want to try to go get some jing from it, because it really wasn't a violation of their policies. This was picking me out, or I pissed Jeff Bezos off and he reported it. One of the two. I don't know. I don't give a shit. I mean, bald-headed fucker. Really, I don't even know Jeff Bezos, right? And I don't have anything against people with bald heads. I mean, you could make the argument that, God made a few perfect heads and put hair like mine on the rest of them. And I do have a funky-ass bald head. I shaved it one time, I know. And Jeff Bezos looks like Brad Pitt compared to my head when it comes to being bald-headed. You knew. I got a big old head anyway, so you can imagine that big old bowling ball with No, I got little dents in it too. Look like somebody hit me in the head with a bat. But the point being is this. Joke is a joke is a joke. And when it comes to comedy, nothing should be off limits. Not queers, fags, whatever you want to call them, LGBTQ. Because look, at the end of the day, if you want to be gay, that's going to be between your lifestyle. Let me just broad this. Your lifestyle is going to be between you and God. It ain't going to make a damn what Twitter does or who censors what or who hates who. And plus, you don't hate the sinner. You love the sinner. You hate the sin. You don't like what they're doing. You don't agree with their lifestyle. But you get the point. The point being is this: the censorship has got to stop at some point, folks. Just because you say stupid crap or you make jokes about people doesn't mean you hate them. I don't know Jeff Bezos. I don't know what kind of person he is. He may be a hell of a nice guy to sit down and talk to. I don't know him, so I can't really. You can't say that I hate him for what I said, because I didn't. It was a joke. It was just a fucking joke is what it was. And like I said, when it comes to me, I'm in one of those camps or one of those two camps. Either you like me or you don't like me. So but at the end of the day, am I going to sue them? Probably not. Not pro se anyway. I don't have enough time for that. I mean, their team of attorneys will. And it's not like that I can't handle the paperwork. That's not it. Or the motions or whatever they file, to the interrogatories or the discovery or whatever, all that. It's not that. It's just about time. So I'm going to sit back and see if there's any success, because I'm not the only one. People with some deep pockets are suing them too. For now, fuck Twitter. And the answer is pro se, no, not suing them. No. Not going to happen. Will I find a law firm that wants to do that? Yeah, if they'll take it on contingency. So, not a problem, because what I said was no violation whatsoever. And you could argue very, very successfully that they are arbitrarily and capriciously enforcing their policies. And let me tell you something, folks. When you arbitrarily and capriciously enforce your rules, you might as well not have any rules, because either it's good for everybody or it's good for nobody. And that's the way the courts always look at those things. So having the right arguments is key too. But the question, the answer is no. Even though I believe it's a I believe these platforms should allow anything on their platforms that constitutes free speech, and that includes hate speech. I believe that because hate speech is free speech, and if they live in this country and they're going to get the benefits of living in this country and the monetary benefits of living in this country, then they ought to have enough common decency to comply with the free speech obligation or the free speech afforded to every American. That ought to just be core to their company beliefs. If it's illegal or abuse of animals or any of that kind of stuff or anything that's illegal, any fight words or you telling somebody you're going to do harm to them, then not only should that shit be removed, they should be prosecuted for it. I mean, there are things like threats and intimidation by letter or notice. There are illegal things going on that Twitter and YouTube and Google could take actions on, or at least report it to the locales and let them take action on it. I mean, because there is a line between free speech and a crime. Let me give you an example. If you said someone should have their ass whooped, man, that guy should have his ass whooped for what he said. That's free speech. Or if you use the N-word, not acronyming it. I'm going to acronym it because of YouTube. But if you use that, free speech, depending on the context and the situation you're using it in. If you're using it to incite violence, well, then it's considered fight words, and it's not free speech. I mean, it gets complicated sometimes. So, depending on how you use it, depending on what you say and how you say it. It's like you can't walk into a crowded theater and pull the fire alarm and scream fire. That's not free speech. That's inciting panic. It's a crime. So that's the point. There's a lot of moving parts to our Constitution. There's a lot of moving parts to your freedoms too. And having a little bit of integrity and a little bit of decency goes a long way when it comes to these kind of things. And I agree with that. Now, do I think YouTube has been relatively fair? I think they should have put, Donald Trump's CPAC speech on their platform. I think they're being childish. I think you've got a group of peckerheads in that organization that are just childs. They're grown-ass children that make these decisions. Hell, this video may not be up, but you can always go to charlesgraham.com and listen to it. So, to answer the question that probably is on your mind, no, I'm not going to be pro-saying or suing Twitter. I'm just not. I don't have the time. I run a company I don't run a media company, I run a company. So, no, I won't be suing Twitter. But it is fun to think about. But I will be watching it pretty close because I want to see how all this stuff pans out. But if you like the show, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. And it'll notify you to all uploads. And I'm going to try to have 4 or 5, morning shows every morning. And I'm just amazed that there's actually people out there that give a damn what I have to say. But thank you for watching, because it's always a pleasure to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and do this show just for you. So remember that, and stay safe out there. Be careful, and God bless you all, and bye-bye.